Welcome to Fairfield High School. I believe that every student that joins us is an important individual, whether that's in the first tentative moments in Year 7 through to becoming a well-educated and well-rounded individual by the time they leave us in Year 11.
We are very proud of Fairfield's special curriculum. It encompasses the national curriculum and makes sure that our Fairfield values are never lost. Against the national trend, we have kept our GCSEs as broad as possible, including languages, humanities, engineering, music, art, food and nutrition, dance, drama, photography and several more.
We have the opportunity to study 16 different subjects throughout Key Stage 3, and we offer a variety of different sports clubs along with chess, robotics, eco club and one of my favourites, cooking.
Our staff and our students work together to make sure that we achieve good exam results that are some of the best locally and nationally.
Getting to grips with a new school can be daunting. It's bigger than primary, but not huge. So don't worry, you'll soon settle into our wonderful school.
Diversity is the heart of what we do at Fairfield. We've got 40 flags in our atrium, and that represents the diverse communities that we have within our school. We like to call that the Fairfield family.
It is very important to all staff here at Fairfield that all pupils feel safe. We have a strict no bullying policy which everyone must follow. Also, we do have a buddy system to help them break the ice and form new friendships.
Connections are incredibly important at Fairfield, whether that's primary schools, local businesses and social enterprises, or indeed universities. But the most important connection for us are the ones that we have with our students and our families. It's that makes us a happy and successful school.
Hi everyone, welcome to our first ever live Zoom event. We're really excited, so glad you could join us. My name is Miss Campbell. I'm an Assistant Vice Principal here at Fairfield. I'm also an ex-Fairfield student, so I'm incredibly proud of my school and our school community, and I really do hope that you will enjoy our next video on the curriculum. We are very proud of Fairfield's special curriculum. It encompasses the national curriculum and makes sure that our Fairfield values are never lost. Our teachers make sure that our students get great results and encourage them to be responsible global citizens. The We Are Fairfield curriculum uses the letters A, R, E to demonstrate our approach. The A means we are aspirational for all. The R means we are responsible global citizens, and the E is for enterprising, creative and innovative. Our pupils are tomorrow's leaders. Our amazing eco team has been recognised by businesses across the Southwest, such as Burgess Salmon, as a perfect example of students leading the way in school policy. We have a student research team who identify good practice in areas that are important to them. Against the national trend, we have kept our GCSEs as broad as possible. Outside of our core subjects, we make RE and citizenship compulsory at GCSE. Students can choose from a range of subjects including languages, humanities, engineering, music, art, food and nutrition, dance, drama, photography and several more. We truly believe we are a strong, diverse and inclusive community school. If you explore our Fairfield High School website, look at our curriculum section. Every subject includes our core values.
lot of our policy development, it comes from our community. We are informed by what our community wants, but also the world beyond our community. So the reality for me, I'll just say how it is, I think, is that mobile phones, mobile technology is here and will be with us. In fact, look at us now. We're all using technology that just wasn't around just a few years ago. And broadly, I think there are two approaches to that. Either we can deny students access to education around how to use technology wisely and the challenges that go with that, or we can be upfront and adult about it and teach them how to use it wisely and acknowledge that sometimes that can go wrong and teach them the skills of how to deal with those issues. I certainly would much rather that children are aware that mobile technology can be an issue and can learn how to deal with that in a safe place. And I think that's the role of education, to give a safe place for students to make mistakes and learn and grow, as opposed to being cut off from certain things and denied access to them. Mobile technology is the future. It's not going to go away.
Thank you, Mr. Lewis. While you were talking there, we had a question come through about had we ever considered a no phones policy. And as a member of the senior leadership team, I can say that any feedback that we get from families and from students, we consider that throughout the school year. So there have been times where we've discussed it, but the policy we have at the moment, as Mr. Lewis has spoken to, best fits our school community. Mr. Shand, I'm going to hand over to you now to introduce our next video. We will be continuing the questions after this video, so keep them coming in.
Hello, good evening, everyone. My name is Mr. Shand. I am the Achievement Coordinator for Year 7. Just a little bit about myself. I am an ex-pupil of Fairfield, so I do have really strong passion to work with pupils here at Fairfield and see them succeed. The video will be a little bit around what we offer for new Year 7s and also a little bit about what you can do before stepping in as a Year 7 to get to know Fairfield a little bit more. Thank you.
You've only had 2 lessons so far. We settled in okay? Hi, my name is Mr. Shand. My role is to help Year 7s get used to life here at our wonderful school. Fairfield is bigger than primary, but not huge. So don't worry, you'll soon settle in. You will study 16 different subjects throughout Key Stage 3. The main question will be, are you studying French and Spanish or French and German? Then you'll want to think about what clubs you might want to take part in. Here at Fairfield, we run a variety of different clubs. Clubs take place at lunchtime and after school. All clubs are free. There is a variety of different sports clubs which change each term, a variety of different games clubs, and we do have a great following for our eco club, kids that work on how to make the school more environmentally friendly. If there is not a club of your interest, you can come and speak with myself and we will look into the possibility of starting up a whole new club. Getting to grips with a new school can be daunting, so we offer magic mornings to give all prospective pupils the opportunity to experience life at Fairfield as if they were already a pupil. They will have the opportunity to go through a variety of different subjects, and it also helps answer a lot of questions like how do I move around the building, what time is lunch and break. If you would like to look at how we've worked closely with our current Year 7s to help them settle in, you can have a look on our website under Parents, Primary School Transition, where there will be a few videos from staff and pupils, which will give you an insight into how life is here at Fairfield.
Okay, thanks for that, Mr. Shand. I know we've got a whole host of questions that people are wanting to get answers to, and so what we're trying to do is group those together. So it might not be your specific question, but we're trying to group them into kind of categories so that we give you at least a sense of answers to your questions. So less chat from me and probably more questions I think would help. So Ms. Cronin, some more questions for us?
Thank you, Mr. Lewis. I think there's been a fair question from a member of the audience around diversity and inclusion, and that's a really big part of our culture and something that a number of us on the panel have mentioned. However, it was at the very end of one of our segments. So I was wondering if Ms. Campbell could speak a bit more about the work that she's been piloting in the school around diversity and inclusion, and then if any of the students want to discuss anything they've seen in our curriculum or around the school, you guys can have a think about that while Ms. Campbell is talking.
Thank you. One of the aspects that we have really delved into is the feeling of being inclusive. We've set up a number of different groups, one of them amongst staff, we've called it Arise. We've partnered with a school in Bristol who is also part of our trust. And the purpose of our Arise group is to acknowledge that we are a multicultural society, inclusive of race, gender fluidity or lack of, as well as religion. And we want to have a foundation within our curriculum to demonstrate the topical issues that happen in society. And we want to enable our students to have a voice. We know that our students have really fantastic ideas, they have great opinions, but sometimes we have to create a safe space for them to have those conversations. And to not be fearful, because we as a staff body acknowledge that race and racism, for example, can be very difficult topics to talk about. And it's important as educators that we create a foundation of knowledge for our students as well as what they are being taught at home. So one of the aspects of our Arise group is to look at our curriculum. It's to also make sure that when we are having staff meetings, part of allyship and discussions around ways that we want to incorporate topical issues into our everyday fabric of school is looked at, and we are really embedding those ideas. Something as simple as every single meeting we have a conversation around race, around racism, around language, around how we can incorporate issues that students will read about in the news, they will see on social media. How can we bring them into a school context so that we continue to educate our students? And it's been really powerful. Tutor times being one where we are able to share information safely with our students, and they're in their community in a tutor group so that they can have those discussions. Assemblies is another way that we are really trying to promote diversity and inclusion, and not just the celebration of those aspects, but also some of the really hard-hitting topics that students have been privy to, especially during this lockdown period. Another really important aspect of work that we've been looking at is our LGBTQI+ community, and how we can ensure that we are being inclusive, teach students about language and appropriate words, phrases to use. Again, something that our whole staff body really enjoyed was the opportunity for them to share the pronoun that they like to be used in and around the school building. Because we recognise that society is changing and we want our students to be prepared, but we also want them to feel as though if they are unsure, they know how to ask appropriately and sensitively. And so the work is ongoing. We're not going to just, put some posters up or to have an assembly and say we're done. That's not the type of school that we are. And we like to take information from our students. We like to get their voice and where possible, try and embed those ideas.
Thank you very much, Ms. Campbell. And a really important message there that it's not just about a day or a week or a poster, it's ongoing in Fairfield. From the student panel, is there anything that you would like to add about school life in Fairfield or in individual lessons where you get to learn about diversity and inclusion?
I feel that our lessons, we learn about many different sides to a single story. as RE is compulsory to GCSE, we learn all about different religions and cultures. And all around the school, there's this free mixing. And we have lots of different students. We have students that are deaf, students that are blind, students have learning difficulties, and we do not, and everyone sort of joins together. There is no sort of one side and another. All the students are together, and we're all going through this. We've just had like a lockdown, so obviously it's been very hard for all of us. So we're all doing as best we can to adjust to this new school life and to make sure that we're using kind words and being kind to one another.
Thank you very much for that, Shyster. And I think that echoed a lot of what Ms. Campbell said really well there as well. We do have a number of other questions, and we will be moving on to those after the next video. I don't have to introduce anyone for the next video, as I'm introducing it myself. So our next video is all around our different faculties. And as has been touched on some of our videos earlier today, we do have a very broad curriculum. We have had some questions come through around what languages are available in Fairfield, whether arts and drama are available in Fairfield. And in terms of languages, we have French, German, Spanish and Arabic, both at Key Stage 3 and Key Stage 4. And in terms of art, we have fine art, graphics, photography available at Key Stage 4 and Key Stage 3. And sports are just as broad as those two. However, I'm not a particularly sporty person, so I'm not the best person to ask. However, I do know they're covered in both the video and our school website. Mr. Shand might be a better person to talk to at another point about those things. All of our broad curriculum and the faculty work we do also is covered at Key Stage 4, which is quite unique in Fairfield. We build our option columns around what our students like to choose, and as much as possible we facilitate a broad curriculum for all of our students, even when it comes to our GCSE choices. I'll now pass you over to our video that tells you a little bit more about these topics.
At Fairfield High School, we pride ourselves on our facilities, we pride ourselves on our teachers and our support staff, but most of all, we pride ourselves on our students. An art room is nothing without an artist. A drama theatre only comes to life with actors. A dance studio requires dancers. Technology is meaningless without creative minds. A hoop must be dunked. A goal must be scored or saved. A pie must be baked. We have the facilities to unearth and nurture all of your talents.
So that really sums us up. It is about nurturing talents and supporting individuals to do well, no matter who they are. And I know there have been a number of questions about very specific things. And I think what we should be able to do is capture those and get responses to them on the website, even if we don't address all of the issues now, because we clearly need to find some ways of getting responses out to people in a way that we can't do just in a live event. We can't have all of the questions all at once. So enough talk from me, as I say, and some more questions.
Thank you, Mr. Lewis. I am trying to answer some of the questions as we go along via message, even if we're not covering them in the live chat. The big topic that we haven't got an opportunity to discuss yet is around how you apply to the school. So things like, if I attend May Park School, which is part of the Excalibur Academy, is that going to improve my chance of getting into Fairfield? And also around, when we join Fairfield, what kind of transition is there as part of the school? So the first part of that question, could we go to Mr. Lewis, and then perhaps Mr. Shand, you'd like to tell us a little bit about what happens when you actually join Fairfield or get a place in Fairfield. So Mr. Lewis.
Okay, well, the easy answer to the first one is what you have to do is apply for Fairfield, and you do that via the Bristol admissions procedure, making sure you hit the deadline of the end of October. That's really important. And then on that website, you're able to see the criteria that we use, and that ranges from whether you have siblings in the school already through to the distance that you have in the school. Distance from the school. And then another question we're often asked is, does your preference matter? And what I would say is that you have to put us on the list of 3. That's really important. If you exclude us and hope to just hope to get into Fairfield, that definitely doesn't work. So putting us on the list really does matter. And then in terms of some of the other questions we get asked about appeals, we get asked is about appeals, and is there an appeals process? So we're often oversubscribed quite quickly, which is a real shame, because obviously we'd like as many students as possible to come to Fairfield. There is a process by which you can appeal for a place if you're not successful, but that often leads to a waiting list, so you might have to go on to a waiting list as well. What I can say is that the vast majority of people who live within our catchment area who put us down as a preference are able to get into the school, and that's what's super important, is that people who are in our community are able to get places. And then probably the other questions, I think, for maybe Mr. Shand would want to talk about with transition and some of our students, because obviously they've all been through transition and can talk about it from personal experience. Mr. Shand, sorry, I should have handed over. Mr. Shand, can you tell us a little bit about what happens with transition? When does it start? What kind of activities happen in a typical year?
Thank you, Mr. Lewis. Once you are accepted at Fairfield and you accept your place, we do have a series of transition events which will be available. We have one day which is called Ones and Tuesday, where we invite up all the pupils that are coming from a primary school with one other pupil, not in a big group. So they have a chance to come up, see the facilities, get to know a few members of staff, and also break the ice with a few other pupils that are in a similar situation to themselves. We do have a full induction day where all the pupils that are due to start with us in September will come up and partake in 4 lessons as if they were already Fairfield pupils, which again gives them a real flavor of what it would be like when they start with us in September. During the induction event, they are putting some of the pupils that they will be in the same class with. So again, it gives them the opportunity to familiarize themselves with other pupils that they will be starting in the same class as in September. We do also run a summer school, which runs the first week of the summer holidays. Unfortunately, we was not able to run it this year due to COVID, but we're hoping that it will be available for our pupils that will be starting with us next year. Once pupils do start with us in September, they do have an extended tutor time where again, they can really get to know their tutor, who they will be with every morning, and also other members of their tutor group. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Shand. The next question for students around that is, when you joined in year 7, and for some students, this was years and years and years ago, for some students, I know they didn't join in year 7, they've joined us midway, and for others, it was only in the last couple of months. Rena, starting with you, how do you think you got to settle into Fairfield? Because from memory, I think you joined us halfway through your school, high school.
I think Fairfield is a very friendly environment, so it wasn't hard to make friends. So I had no issue fitting in.
Thanks, Rena. And what about one of the students who've more recently joined us, right? Would you like to tell us a little bit about what it was like coming as a year 7?
Um, yeah, it was quite like the transition was quite smooth. Like the summer school, like you got to really like know everyone that like went to the summer school quite well. So yeah, at least from my like since from last year, it's like been quite like smooth.
Thank you, Raid. We did have a question about whether summer school will be running in 2021. I think that's very much in part out of our control, but I know we'd be really keen to have that happen. Mr. Shand, is that correct?
Yep, we will have summer school running next year. As long as everything is okay, we will definitely be running summer school because it's such an important part of the year sevens settling in, and after summer school, they can't wait to start in September because they know a lot more people than they already knew from primary school. They know a lot more staff and they're really raring to go after summer school. So definitely it will be in the calendar as long as everything's okay next year.
Thank you very much, Mr. Shand. And the next question is around SEND and dyslexia. So what kind of support is on offer for students in school around those areas? Is there anybody who would like to speak to that, either from the students, and if not, I know I can pass over to Mr. Lewis on that topic. So are any of the students wanting to speak on SEND or dyslexia?
I know that our school has a very good SEND staff and dyslexia, as I had an older cousin who used to go to Fairfield, he's now in university, who had dyslexia, and he was able to get support. So I remember, I think in the year 11, he was student of the year, and he was given the support he could that the school like provided for him. And I'm pretty sure he did fine art, so he was given support to, you know, they nurtured all his talents, and I'm pretty sure they still have some of his artwork today.
Sorry to interrupt, Miss, your mic is off.
Sorry, Isabella, thank you for that one. Mr. Lewis, I was about to hand over to you to see if you wanted to add anything on to Shyster's answer around SEND in Fairfield.
Yeah, absolutely. The really important bit is, first of all, we welcome people no matter what your talents are. But that's not just a vague phrase. It's also about having really skilled and well-trained staff who are able to include a broad range of students in the classroom. That's whether that's in terms of having dyslexia screening through our various reading programs, whether it's about being an autism aware school, whether it's or any of the other kind of invisible disabilities as well, hearing impairment, a whole range. So we have the staff in the school who are able to receive really great training from our SEND experts in school to make sure they know what to do. And then, of course, it's about having a culture, isn't it, that values people for who they are and the diversity that they can bring. So I think that's another important point I would also raise. I'm thinking we're probably going for about 5 more minutes, and I thought that one thing we could do between us, Adele, is try and answer some of the questions in kind of rapid fire. I'll take one, you take one. And that might get through some questions and then leave maybe one question, which I'm going to pose to everybody now, because it was quite a challenging one, but for reasons that people might not expect, which is sum Fairfield up in 3 words, and three words just doesn't seem enough to sum the place up. But if our panelists can think of those, and then we might get that from students at the end. But I thought I'd just go through some of the questions from people. So one I can see here is, do you get a choice of whether you learn German, Spanish or French? Well, yes, you do. From year 8 onwards, you get to choose some of those things, and actually you can also study community languages at GCSE. I'm going to leave the one about summing Fairfield up in 3 words. for now. Why are those two GCSEs mandatory? I think that's RE and citizenship. Well, the truth of that one really is that I think that makes really rounded individuals. Our students have got an advantage in both those subjects anyway, in as much as they're mixing with people from a broad range of religions and a really diverse community. It means that they are able to succeed in those GCSEs. It means that they often leave with more GCSEs on average than most schools in the country. Miss Cronin, do you want to take one or two?
Thank you, Mr. Lewis. I'm going to propose this one to Hope. Hope, can you tell us about what's available in the school canteen, both before COVID and what's currently available?
Well, when COVID wasn't a thing, we had school lunches in the canteen where you could go up and either get a hot meal, or there was also an option of a pasta pot. But outside there was also a place called a sandwich stop where you can get a sandwich of your choice. But due to COVID, we now have counters. You can either choose a red one, a blue one, or a green one, depending on what you want in your sandwich. And you go up into the canteen and drop the counter in the pot, and you collect the sandwich that you want.
Hi,
Thanks very much, Hope.
I'm going to try and get through a few more. Okay.
Mr. Lewis, I'm just going to pause you on that one a second.
Why not? I love that.
There's quite a lot of questions after coming through around our sixth form, so that could be a very quick question that you answer. Does Fairfield have a sixth form?
So yes, we're in a partnership with Colston Girls' School, V6 sixth form, where our students attend and our staff teach too. It's an evolving partnership over time. It's a relatively early one for us, but the short answer is yes. Then I'm going to do some more. So what time does school start and finish? Well, currently 8:30 and 3:30. Are there school trips? What school trips are there for year 7? Well, typically we would have things like bushcraft and a trip abroad to somewhere like France for languages and history tip. Can students learn a musical instrument? Yes, they can. They can choose the instrument they want to learn. Can students bring bikes? Yes, they can. There's a question about the V6 being a girls' school. The sixth form is a mixed sixth form. And what is summer school? Summer school is a chance to get into Fairfield with a whole range of students before school starts, as a way of transitioning from primary to secondary. It's just a way of easing in, meeting new people, so you don't feel alone when you join. And often people have their friends in classes anyway, because we take from many of the local schools. One about class sizes. Typically class sizes are below 30. It's very, very rare that we'll have a class above 30. Usually mid-20s is our average class size. And I'm probably going to stop there and hand over to Miss Cronin, and I'm going to try and think of the 3 words.
Thank you very much, Mr. Lewis. Jimmy, we have a question saying this is a really tall building. Are all of the lessons taking place in this building, or do lessons take place elsewhere?
Well, in Fairfield, there's the ground floor and then there's 5 other floors, and each floor corresponds to a different subject. And then outside, there's also a place called the Annex, which is 3 classrooms, and that's currently getting renovated now. But there are, on the top floor, there's not many. On the first floor, there's a lot more.
And I really want to mention our area of AstroTurf, which you saw in the video. And of course, we have grass playing fields, our own grass playing fields that students also play on. Because I'm conscious of time, we said we were going to do this for about an hour, and we're close to wrapping up. I'm going to give my contribution to 3 words, which I've strangely found a real challenge, and then see if any of the students have got any 3 words, or the staff to sum Fairfield up. But I think mine's going to have to be a rather cheesy, my dream job. I really love Fairfield. I think we've created something really special. It's a brilliant place. But I'm going to hand over to the students now. Ms. Cronin, do you want to facilitate our students for thinking of their 3 words? What a tough question.
I'm going to call on you as you appear on my screen. So I'm not picking on anyone. This is just unfortunately how you're appearing right now. Right, can you tell us your 3 words?
Good, great, and best.
I feel like they were from the heart, those ones. Jimmy, you're up next. Off you go.
Diversity, inclusion, and community.
Fantastic. I think my ones will be close to that. Hope.
Yeah, I was going to say inclusivity as well, and diversity, and caring.
Shyster, you're up next.
I was going to say a great school.
Fantastic. That's a nice twist on it. Isabella.
Mine's quite close to Jimmy's. I said diversity, inclusive and encouraging.
Fantastic. And I think it says something about our community that lots of these cross over. And last but not least, Raina, do you want to finish us off with your 3 words?
I was going to say the same as Jimmy, multicultural, diverse, and inclusive.
Fantastic. Thank you very much for all of those. Mr. Shand or Miss Campbell, do you want to jump in with your 3 words, or do you feel the students have covered everything?
I think you've really let them off the hook there, Ms. Cronin.
Mr. Shand, we're going to call on you. Come
on. For myself, diversity, definitely. Inclusive, definitely. And I would add in challenging as well. Every kid is challenged no matter what ability they are.
Fantastic. Mr. Lewis, is there anything else we need to cover tonight?
There are probably 1,000,001 things that we would love to cover. I'm conscious that we've done our very best to answer the questions. We can't really replicate a real open evening, but hopefully we've given you a flavour, and we'll find a way of making sure that all of the points that have come up in the questions are put out on our website. So we said we'd do this for about an hour, and I'd just like us all to wave to the world that's out there, and thank you for turning up and trying to find out about us. Bye, folks.